Hey everyone, welcome to episode 26 of the Ceres podcast with Banico Zeniou, the co-owner of the Fylde Fish Bar group based in Southport. This is a pretty relaxed episode. We discuss a little bit of his journey, modern customers buying off aggregator applications like Just Eat, Deliveroo and so on, dark kitchens, fish and chip prices versus, let's say, burger prices. We discuss food trends and generally just have a casual conversation about the day-to-day topics relating to the fish and chip industry and the hospitality industry. I really hope you enjoy this episode. Banico, welcome to the Ceres podcast.
Thank you very much.
I've wanted to get you on for some time. This is our second go, actually, because we had some faults with our last go. Which was a
mysteriously
year ago.
lost that one because I started talking about aliens.
Well, no, you didn't.
And third dimensions.
What I'd like to say is a little introduction about who you are. You're the co-owner of Fylde Fish Bar, 3 fantastic fish and chip shops, all based in Southport. You co-run them alongside with your better half, Jodie.
Yep.
For many that don't know, we first met in a really odd way. Do you remember how we met?
I know. I
keep saying
the story. It is funny. Sorry.
We were both in a lift in London. You get in after me, and then for the whole 20 floors down, you were just giving me a dirty look. It turns out we're both going to the same event. So
it's that Greek thing, isn't it? Where you think, is he Greek? Isn't he Greek?
Yeah.
Is he Greek? Isn't he Greek?
And then you found out within an hour or so, didn't you?
Yeah.
But and then you've been my best friend ever since. You've just loved me, don't you? Really?
Yeah. Can't get rid of me now, can you? I don't think there's a week that goes by without speaking to each other at least once or twice.
Text stuff to each other, don't we?
Just
mental stuff.
Yeah.
So how did you get into the fish and chip trade?
Mum and Dad were renting a shop in Middlesbrough. My dad bought a shop in Billingham, and I used to work for my dad. I used to help my dad in the kitchen when I was 5 or 6 doing the fish parties. My dad used to give me a bit of money. And my dad got fed up in the 80s, so the long hours, because back then, as you know, most chippies closed at 12, 6 days a week. And he wanted to move up north with the rest of the family. So he sold out the fish and chips and started a doner kebab and chicken factory. It wasn't greatly successful. It was okay.
Where was that based?
In Liverpool, on the docks, actually on the Docklands of Liverpool. And I worked for me auntie's shops or my uncle's shops when I was a young lad. And then, I'll be honest with you, I wasn't too good in school. I was always messing around. I left school when I was 14.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm heavily dyslexic. Doesn't bother me, but so I was more distractive than anything, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So my dad wouldn't let me be a bum in the house. So he said, okay, you're not going to school. I tried a bit of college. If I wasn't going to college, Dad would drag me in the van and make me go to work with him and just basically made sure I was on the right road, you know what I mean? Which I'm massively grateful for. And I stuck with my dad and his company. My mum was working there as well up until about the age of 25, 28. And I just said to my mum and dad, this is not for me anymore. I'm going to spread my wings. But it wasn't to do fish and chips, to be honest with you. It was to supply frozen sushi to supermarkets. I created a brand called Go Go Sushi. Anyway, that was all right. It wasn't overly successful, you know what I mean? And then...
What do you think? Sorry to interrupt. What was the biggest thing there that sort of make it not work? Was it too early to the market?
It was too early to the market. I don't think the consumers didn't appreciate the frozen sushi. Although the frozen sushi quality was better quality than the sushi you get in a supermarket now. The idea of the consumers defrosting it and then
I suppose it's not as convenient, is it?
No, but it only took 2 hours to defrost,
Yeah, no, but I'm guessing for these people that want that,
they just couldn't get the head on. It didn't work.
Yeah.
It didn't work. So anyway, I was unemployed. I was actually in the dole, and then seeing the unit in Marshside, the big unit, and something said to me, just go for it. I never had a lot of money, but basically all the money I saved over the years, because I managed to make a bit of money out of pork ribs on the side when I was a young lad, and a bit of property. I put into the new project. I borrowed, I begged. I got a grant, and I opened Fylde Fish Bar in Marshside, and that was nearly 10 years ago in October. That's how it started. Signed up with the NFF before I opened, got some training. I was very fortunate. I got some training with my uncle and my cousins. They owned the Good Catch brand, but not worked for them. I worked with them, sorry. And they were great. They gave me a lot of time, and they helped me as well establish the shop in the beginning. It gave me some good ideas and good management skills. And I went on to
And how long did it sort of like take all the training and everything? Was there a lot of training involved, or?
Yeah, with my uncle Kipro and the kids. I think I was with them for about 6 months, 4 to 6 months. I used to drive to Manchester and work with them. It was good fun as well. It was good to spend time with a lovely family like that.
So now you've got 3 shops, and at one point there was 4. Well, no, would have been 4 if it carried on, obviously. But so let's just look at the beginning of Southport, Marshside. What would you say the biggest challenges were? Just getting that one off on the ground and.
When you start something like that and you don't know what you're doing yourself, you just pretend and you're blagging it before you can, confidently do it. All the staff didn't know what they were doing. So I never had staff to train staff. It was me just training everyone. And luckily, like I said, my family were there. That was the biggest challenge. I knew the formula, how to make good fish and chips. That wasn't a problem. So the service suffered at the beginning. Until we established good service, what good service was, before I could learn how to train. That's hard. To know how to train someone properly, it's not easy.
That takes time.
That takes time. So that was the biggest challenge. But once you got your good staff, and you've got your supervisor, your training buddies, if you want to call them, or whatever, you can then relax a bit and let them train the other staff. So I think that was the biggest challenge.
How long was it before you then opened the second one?
Year 3, I spotted a site on the coast of Southport. It was going to be a small takeaway, and it did okay when the sun was out. It did really well, to be honest, when the sun was out. But as soon as a drop of rain came,
died.
Oh my God! So it was like busy. We need loads of fish, or quiet. What are we going to do with all this fish? Do you know what I mean?
How long did you have that one for?
A year and a half. I was lucky because Subway wanted it.
No, it's the one opposite McDonald's, isn't it?
Yeah. Not quite
not
opposite.
But it's in that estate. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, in the summertime, it made money, but staffing it as well was so you were weather watching constantly.
It's that feast and famine. You can't keep having a business that goes from feast to famine, can you? Really, it's not sustainable.
No, it's not cool, man.
Yeah.
It's not cool. You want steady Eddie.
Yeah.
All year round, ideally. You know what I mean? Those shops on the coast that do those extremely massive numbers then crash, it must be a nightmare for them to train the staff every year, you know what I mean? And
keep ramp up, then ramp down.
Because those shops can do less than 10 grand a week in the winter and 150 to 200 grand a week in the summers.
Yeah.
That must be
so how do you even go,
I wouldn't like to imagine that, your anxiety levels would be off the scale.
Logistical nightmare, isn't it, really?
Yeah. So Subway bailed me out, and I just pulled everything out of it, and I opened the shop in Birkdale Village, which is around the corner from my house.
Yeah. Oh, was that quite soon after that? Was it?
Yeah, straight away, and that's doing okay as well.
Yeah,
and Bersco.
So you didn't want to mess around with sort of like any more seasonal after that. You sort of embedded yourself into more sort of like consistent residential areas.
Yeah, absolutely. Win over the community, spend your time with the community, learn about the community, and be friends with the community. Then you can have a shop for a long time.
I suppose it's a longer game you're playing.
Yeah,
as opposed to that very short sort of cyclical, get in and out. But I think it probably pays dividends moving forward, doesn't it? Really.
Absolutely. When you move into a new area, you're the new kid on the block, and everyone will try you, but they're also a bit cynical about you because you're not from that area, so you've got to win the area over. So you've got to be.
What sort of like would you say? What sort of things have you done to sort of get through to customers in that respect?
Picking local charities, supporting the local charities, bringing the schools in. Luckily, my wife, she was a teacher So she does it for the love of it. We bring a lot of classes in, and we do like a seafood experience. Teach them about sustainability, and then we give the kids a voucher, so the parents will come in with the kids and stuff like that, and then those kids will become a fan, and the parents are grateful. Like, it's not just about the business side of it. It is more for well-being,
Well, I suppose, and if you're getting young kids involved, they start to understand about food.
Yep.
More importantly, fish, which is our business, but your business, and so they get involved with that. Because I think fish is like alien to a lot of people. They're not, they don't. Yeah.
There was one kid whose parents came in and said, "Thank you very much. We've never been able to get our child to eat fish."
Wow.
And now the child eats fish.
I think fish and chips is that perfect
entry level
fish for kids, especially because it's battered or breaded or however, and it's just easy. They've got chips with it as well. I'll dip it in ketchup or curry sauce or peas, whatever it is they like, and I think it's very engaging. And if you're showing them how to do it as well, even better.
Definitely.
So, how many years is that then? When did you open Southport, the original?
10 years in October.
So 10 years. So 10 years you've gone from...
Going to do a big bonanza, by the way.
Oh, cool.
Big shout out, yeah.
So you've gone from one shop to three.
Yeah.
What would you say is the biggest thing that's probably changed in those 10 years?
The digital revolution. When I started, there was no such thing as Facebook pages. You could have a Facebook profile and call it the shop name, then seeing the pages born when it first started, and then putting your business on the page, and interacting with your customers, and accepting that is a powerful platform. That is a big game changer, and also Deliveroo and Just Eat and all that. That's another thing as well.
If we look at Facebook for a second, there is a massive sense of power there that you guys and me, obviously my business, we can talk to our customers. Like, whereas before it would be on a wider scale, it would be hard. You have to put an advert in a newspaper or something. Nowadays, it's just like, you want to put an offer out? You don't have to ring up the newspaper and say, "Oh, I want to put an advert in." Nowadays, you can just do a quick boost.
Within a second.
Within 5-10 minutes. You've got a whole boost going on, and you've got vouchers coming back in. And I think that's massively democratized the way that advertising works, I think, in some ways. And how much does it cost to advertise something these days? 12 quid, 13 quid?
It's amazing. But at the same time, we've realised, because we did start dismissing newspapers, but then we stopped and thought, hang on a minute, we're missing a generation here.
The older generation, so they still have a place as well, don't they?
So with the newspapers. So we still use newspapers sometimes, but again, like I said, the logistics as well are changing with using third-party companies like Deliveroo as well. That's it's a bonus and
you use any negative. You use Just Eat, Deliveroo, Uber Eats. Use any of those then?
We use Deliveroo.
Yeah.
I've seen Deliveroo when they came into Southport with no customers. We were like the first people to join onto it. I've seen that grow massively, and it's an undeniable presence.
What do you think is going to happen with that? Do you think it's just going to keep growing, or?
Yeah, absolutely. It's. I mean, the girl in the office, she sent me from Deliveroo. She sent me our shop statistics. From day one, how we've grown.
Yeah, through that platform.
Yeah, and I'm guessing that's just general around the whole country.
I suppose people are busier. Everyone works.
Yes and no.
Well, yeah, to some degree. Some are lazy, of course, but or at least they're attributing their time elsewhere. That's their choice, I suppose. But I suppose I was with someone the other day who's coming on the podcast soon, a chap from Prio Day, and I told you about them, didn't I?
Yeah.
And he said, look, if people are at the gym and they want to order their food for collection at X time or delivery, that's their prerogative, isn't it? No one wants to be standing doing inefficient things, waiting in a queue. I think that's another thing.
I use Deliveroo and Just Eat, to be honest with you.
Personally,
I do for other cuisines, not just for us. And it is so organised. Sometimes I'll be in the office and like Jodie will say, you're looking after the kids tonight. And me and my sons, we love Turkish food, barbecue food. We got our favourite one, and I'll put in the time and what we like, what to order, and then bang on. Well, within 15 minutes of when I've decided to come, it arrives. It's so organised, so easy. And it does take out the stress of being on the phone and doing the order. So,
and also I think paying for it. getting your cash out, paying for a delivery driver. This is all done. It's just done, isn't it?
It's done. It's flawless. Yeah, it's definitely a presence we can't ignore.
I think in the food industry, whether it's retail or restaurant, is probably going for a huge change at the moment. And I think that what you're probably seeing is that takeaways and restaurants are both becoming the same thing through delivery. In some ways, there's a lot of crossover there. So if you wanted pasta through Bella Italia, for argument's sake, or something else like through Harry Ramsden's, and you mentioned this earlier, it's all being delivered to your door, isn't it? So
it is. It's a bit upsetting to find out on Friday last week. I found out that Harry Ramsden's are using a bingo hall to distribute through Deliveroo. Now I've supported Deliveroo from the beginning, and I don't. I like the fact that there's other good shops on Deliveroo. But when I hear it's a bingo hall serving fish and chips and using the Harry Ramsden's
I suppose so the way that probably works, if we was to deconstruct it, the way that works is that the bingo hall has a deal to serve Harry Ramsden's.
Anyway, I'm going to do bingo in my shops now.
Well, they have a deal to do branded fish and chips through the Harry Ramsden's name. And whilst they were there, they thought, we'll do Deliveroo and we'll deliver it. So I don't think it's Harry Ramsden's delivering through the bingo hall. I think it's the bingo hall who's done Deliveroo and fish and chips, and that's how that's worked out. But again, if people like it, they'll order it, and if they don't, but I don't think I'd order food from a bingo hall, if I'm honest.
The consumer doesn't know, does it?
Yeah. Well,
at the moment.
Well, I don't know.
It'll come out eventually.
So on the platform, is it just Eat or Deliveroo, that one?
Deliveroo.
All right. So would it say fish and chips from the bingo hall, fish and chips from Harry Ramsden's? What does it
just
come
Harry
up
Ramsden's.
as? Oh, Harry Ramsden's.
Heavily branded.
Oh, okay.
Nice photographs.
Yeah.
But people in Southport know there's no Harry Ramsden's.
Well, yeah, you'd think
unless they think it's coming from Blackpool.
And they may do. You never know, they may do.
Anything's possible.
So what do you think of sort of like the ongoing things like dark kitchens and, you said about the bingo hall, and you didn't know about this, but I was telling you earlier that now Sainsbury's do delivered pizza, through their bakery, let's say, because I'm guessing it's coming out their ovens, so this is the other thing. Deliveroo has probably, well, not Deliveroo only, but these aggregators have allowed for so much more competition that probably wasn't there before.
It's crazy. I mean, like Domino's pizzas have been the dominant pizza guys, haven't you? Papa John's.
Yeah.
Domino's a great brand. It's a great brand. But all of a sudden, Sainsbury's are challenging them, just like that. And they could switch the formula up in Sainsbury's to do a decent job. I think it's just, I just don't know which way the market's going to go.
Would you say Domino's is great value for money?
They're clever because they charge lots of money.
Yeah.
They do, but I get a text every day nearly from Domino's, 50% off, 50% off today, 50% off today. So what they do is they charge a lot, but they use it.
They use it in order to cut the price. Yeah.
So it looks like you're getting a deal all the time, So they're making good GP. Again, we were talking before we started recording. Them and Five Guys, they're getting great gross profits. That's how they can grow.
What do you think the biggest building block is in the fish and chip industry then, specifically in growing that GP?
It's still classed as a working man's meal. And, we've obviously, I think everyone's broken the £5 barrier.
Oh, I think that's long gone now, isn't it? Yeah.
But can we start getting £8?
If we look at,
which it should be really.
So you mentioned
£7
to
£8.
You mentioned Five Guys.
Yeah.
In America, a burger is a working man's meal. Yeah, it's probably very similar to fish and chips is.
I'm sorry about the noises. It's never used to be as noisy as it is.
Yeah. So how is it that they've managed to charge what they charge for burgers? How comes a burger can cost anywhere from £2 to £10, £12?
I don't know. It's amazing. Yeah. It's a mystery. And I tell you what, I've been to Five Guys and I've been to McDonald's, and if I'm going to go for a burger again and they're both next door to each other, I don't know why I'm going to Five Guys and I'm going to pay 13 to 15 quid for a burger, chips and a drink. I
was in London.
McDonald's is at 5-6 quid.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm going to go to Five Guys. I know the quality is definitely better.
Yes.
Is it twice as good or 3 times as good? I don't know.
I said this, didn't I? I went to Shake Shack the other day. I was in Covent Garden. I was waiting for something to be fixed at the Apple store. So I go to Shake Shack. I ordered, it was a double burger, some fries with some sauce on it and some cheesy sauce. And then a drink. And it was 18 quid.
It's weird.
And not one part
Was
of
it
me.
packed?
It was rammed. I mean, I had to wait 15 minutes for it to be cooked, because they give you those little buzzers. And it was rammed. All the seats were full. And not one part of me felt like I'd been mugged off. And actually, in fairness, I really enjoyed the food.
It's weird.
I really enjoyed
There's something psychological that's deep that we can't explain what it is. But
Oh, they know what it is. We don't know what
yeah,
it is.
but I don't know how they get it, but they get it, man.
But I just think that, it was a lovely burger. It was fresh. It was hot. The bun was nice and
Yeah.
soft. Just talking about it now makes me want another one.
Yeah.
But it just makes you think, like, what has fish and chips got, for argument's sake, or other foods got that stops it? What gives you that variability? For example, with pizza, you can buy a pizza from the supermarket and do it yourself. You can obviously get one from a kebab house, and I'm sure it's decent.
Yeah,
and you can get them from Domino's, and then there's also a lot better than Domino's as well. But it varies so much. Whereas with fish and chips, I don't think you have that huge swing.
It's either good or bad, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose. But then and there's also there's different price points, but that all depends on where it is as well. So if you're in a service station, or I just think, I don't know. But
I mean, when you look at our costings now, we should be charging a lot more.
yeah, we were talking.
If you compare it to the burgers,
So we were
how
talking
much does a
yeah.
burger cost to make?
Well, yeah, it's not that much different, really.
But how much are they getting?
Yeah.
And pizzas, we know, there's great. Where
Great
there's dough,
margins.
there's dough.
There's dough. But no, I think we were talking about this earlier, weren't we, about the fish and chip industry, and you were saying that we should charge more. And I said, well, there's more. It's got to be a multifaceted approach, because you can't just say we need to charge more, because I think where's the ceiling? Number one.
Yeah, always.
And so
3Ps, isn't it? Price, product,
Yeah.
presentation.
So
Whatever it is.
if we're charging too much, then we don't get customers. So
Yeah.
then you need to have like an approach where your margin is good enough to sustain a quiet shop, but then good enough. No, so and then not so bad that. What am I thinking here? So what we're saying earlier is that you want to pick up the volume as well.
Yeah.
Because you want people to I'll have fish and chips tonight, and make that the twice a week meal as opposed to the once a month meal. And I think that's the problem. If you're too expensive, people come in as a treat, and we don't want to be the treat, because that's you do need the volume.
We don't want to be a second thought. We just want fancy fish and chips. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Not like fancy fish and chips. Oh, let's
don't
wait
want
to
them
the
to plan
let's
for
wait till after payday.
Yeah, you don't want that.
No, we don't want that. No.
So I think there's
difficult
the
one.
tricky thing, like where do you call it a day with pricing? And and also there's parts of the country where portions are really big, so they could probably just do by trimming it a little bit initially, and there's others where they're probably too cheap, and they could do well by putting the price up a little bit. But again, this all comes down to location. Comes down to so many other factors. And I think one of the conversations we always have is like when we see it in the Facebook groups, put your price up. I think sometimes that's a dangerous response,
Yes, you're definitely right. You, like you said, everything's got a price point, and you can't go past that. It is a volume thing now, I'm afraid to say.
Well, I don't think that's a bad thing either. I think
It's a safe thing, to be honest with you.
If I'd rather, in some ways, I'd rather have the volume to fall back on. I know, there is that argument, busy fool, you're working hard for nothing and all of that. But I don't know, what would you rather have if you're in business? Would you rather have, and this is an argument you've got to make, is would you rather have less customers and a really high GP?
Yeah.
Or would you rather have lots of customers and a lower GP?
It's more dangerous doing less customers, high GP, because if your customers drop, you've had it, you know what I mean?
Well, we're in it to serve, aren't we? And if you're in
You've got to remember, though, fundamentally, it's still the cheapest takeaway option. Okay, McDonald's is still probably a touch cheaper, but I think it's always been like that, hasn't it?
I think, again, it's one of those products you can build up very fast anyway, to be fair.
So fish and chips is still more affordable than the Domino's pizza or Chinese food.
The only food you'd probably
kebabs.
struggle against is probably KFC, because you can get like a bucket of KFC that'll feed like a whole family. That's the only thing you'd probably struggle against.
You can only eat it once in a blue
Yeah,
moon,
it's true,
can't you?
it's
You
true.
feel dirty afterwards.
Very.
You feel like the Colonel's on his wicked way with you, man.
But I think that's the thing. I think that's probably the only thing you'd struggle with. And ours is, fish and chips especially, it's a very clean product. I think most of the part of that. But I think the benefit of also having volume in our industry is the fact that you serve a better product when you have volume.
Yeah.
Because of the oil.
Yeah.
One thing that we...
That's true.
Yeah, when you're constantly pushing product through oil,
Yeah.
it gets cleaner and cleaner and cleaner. Or at least it's, But when
Fish doesn't sit around.
No, it's not
Spuds
sitting
aren't sat around.
Yeah.
You're rumbling twice a day all of a sudden, which is great.
Yeah.
Everything's fresh.
It works, it's so,
Batter's getting done more often.
Yeah.
Not just sat there all day.
Anybody listening to this would know that it's just so much easier to run a shop with more customers. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then you can start building up your team then around that. And it works like a machine.
Yeah.
Then you've got a formula.
And that's when you get the volume, the gains, because that you're serving more customers, So I think it's a tough one, but I think that I understand the quick, easy response of charge more. I get it.
Yeah.
But I think we now, as an industry, need to start delving a little deeper. What is your portion size? What is this? What's that?
Yeah.
And get to the bottom of it first before everyone just starts putting up prices. But I understand the first reaction, especially with fish prices going up as much as they did and potato prices last year. And
They've gone up again. I can't believe the increase of fish prices at the moment. It is a bit worrying, to be honest with you. The fish, our suppliers are putting the prices up and they've got good reason to. But there's going to be a point where we can't pass that on.
So one thing we were talking about earlier is, and we didn't really get too deep into it, but why is it we're so reluctant to serve different species of fish? Is it just that customers don't seem to want them?
We've tried, We have tried. I remember the macback. Remember it? That was it the mackerel?
Oh, the mackerel bap. Yeah.
We started that. We ran with it, and we got in the newspaper, and loads of people came to try it, but nobody came back again.
So I think the problem with that product is it was the wrong product because it's pelagic, it's oily.
It's a strong taste.
It's a strong flavour, and with batter, and that's my business, you're trapping that oil.
Yeah, it was really oily.
Whereas if it was breaded to some degree, it would allow that oil to leave. So I think that's one of the problems with that. And then it's also massively seasonal, So that was another problem with that product. But I just think if you're going to replace a white fish, do it with white fish. There's so many species after cod and haddock that are still white. Why would you go for...
There's whiting.
Well, there's...
There is, though, isn't
there is, yeah. There's whiting, there's ling, there's pollock, there's coley, which is a little bit on the darker side, but still lovely.
Do you know what, still? There might be an angle just to open up as a shop that's 100% sustainability.
Yeah.
And doesn't touch cod or haddock. And you might get people talking about you. Or they don't sell cod and haddock. Why? Because they're 100% sustainable. They refuse to... sell it, so you can go cheaper then, you know what I mean, as well.
Yeah, well, it depends where you are. If you're next to the seaside, you could have a fish and chip shop that only serves dayboat fish or fish that was going to be discarded. You could do those things, if you're close.
Switch constantly.
You could just say, look, here's what we've got. It's a market board. Today we have this, that, the other, and it, here's the prices, and they're all very keen. But I wonder if customers wouldn't appreciate the consistency.
It's definitely they've been conditioned now. That's the problem. Yeah. I'd say a great brand though. It's Ocean Basket
in Cyprus.
In Cyprus, yeah. What a fantastic brand!
But again, there are lots of different seafood there. Isn't
Amazing.
I've never been to one,
but they sell fish and chips.
Yeah,
but they use panga.
I've not had good panga, and that's why I say because I've not had good pangasius ever. I've tried it like 3 or 4 times. I've been told there is some great panga, but I've not tried it. I'm not saying, so I'm trying not to offend anybody that likes panga. It's just that I've not had the nice stuff.
They use it a lot on cruise ships as well.
It was just, look, it's a very consistent product. It's grown in rivers. That's why it's got that very much.
They glow in the dark.
I don't know about that. But I remember a few years ago, one of my sort of friends, colleagues, stroke suppliers, that he does breadcrumb, and he had to go to Vietnam to see, where this breadcrumb was going to go on this fish, and he saw like some awful things at this panga farm.
Yeah,
it was like, again, is it awful?
You know, I used to sell it, don't you? Yeah.
No, I didn't. No,
yeah,
no.
by
Actually,
the pallets.
I mentioned it. Yeah,
I used to sell it by the pallets. There was like a big thing out. All the chippies started jumping on it, and then it started getting the bad press, and they stopped.
It's not my favourite product. I'm not going to.
It didn't taste bad. But I wouldn't feel right selling them in my shops, to be honest. Yeah,
I just think if you're going to sell it as what it is. That's not a problem.
When I sold it by Dave, just for the record, it was to other shops. I never sold it through Fylde.
Yeah, and again, you did nothing wrong.
It was before I opened the fish and chip shops.
But you sold it as Pangasius. You did nothing wrong. So, what do you think of the current trends like gluten-free, vegan? etc. How do you sort of see that all going? And how
it's
do you
massive
try to keep
now.
in line with it all?
Well, we've got everything ready. It's there. It's all day, every day now. We've got its own pan, and we've got a big fan base that are celiac. We've got a girl that's she's basically head of gluten free in the Fylde Fish Bar. She's celiac, and Georgina comes up with good ideas.
Yeah, I follow her on Twitter.
Yeah, she's got a good page. What's the page called again?
I forgot.
Sorry, G, if you're listening. God, she's going to kill me now.
Yeah, well, you started it.
I know, yeah. I picked it up then, didn't I? So, is the sloth?
Celiac sloth.
Celiac sloth, that's it, yeah. Celiac sloth. Follow her if you're celiac.
Like, how do you identify what is a need and what is a trend? So, for example, we know that generally, if you're a celiac, it's because it hurts and you've got pain attributed to it, or you're definitely allergic or intolerant. A friend of mine who's got a fish and chip shop, he's about to stop doing gluten-free days, and that's because many times customers have just been in. He's been doing it now for 6 months.
Yeah.
So I think that's enough time to sort of and he's been marketing it. It's not a problem. And he said, but a lot of people just keep saying, "Oh, I'll just have the normal one if I have to wait." Oh, 1 minute. Well, how can you have the normal one? Oh, I'll be fine. I'll just go through the pain barrier. And
that's new to me.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's just his customers a bit on the strange side in that respect.
I don't know. I can't comment on that.
No, I can't.
It just seems what is interesting though is a lot of people who aren't celiac choose it for lifestyle.
Yeah.
For health choice. Yeah. I know lads that go to the gym and they'll come into my shops and eat gluten free because they perceive it to be more healthy.
Yeah, but then if you go down the gluten free aisle, the celiac aisle, I'm not being funny.
But do you know gluten free additives aren't terribly good for you?
Well, that's what I was going to say. Yeah. If you look at a packet of biscuits that are suitable for celiacs, let's say, they've got more crap in them. That's a lot more. And usually a lot more sugar if it's biscuits, So I don't know. I just think that's where it becomes a bit silly, in my opinion. But look, if those people want it, they need it. I get it.
I'm all for healthy eating myself, and I think you got to be careful what you put in your body all the time. You know what I mean? So,
my body's my temple, as you know. But so, how many staff do you employ now, Banico?
Roughly, we float between 65 to 75.
Wow.
Depending on the time of year and stuff. What's going on.
Shops.
Yeah, sometimes we'll have more part-timers, more full-timers. It depends. It floats around.
How do you go about sort of team building, staff training, giving everyone a good boost?
It is difficult to keep them glowing, you know what I mean? But we do like staff of the month. We employ great managers that are fun. It is hard to create that happy morale, but we always say to the team, it's not just us that have got to give it to you. You've got to help us with the morale. Yeah, the morale has got to be everyone putting a bit in. Don't ask what you can get from the team. Ask yourself what you can put into the team. And we're very fortunate to have a great HR officer, Louise, and she's very active in the morale. And we do mystery shoppers, and if the mystery shoppers mention the staff's name, we big them up. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's how we do it. So
because it is a hard industry to get good staff through, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a challenge.
Yeah,
I'm fortunate that the majority of my team are lovely. We've got some big characters there. I'm not saying we're a perfect team, but we're a good team.
There's no such thing as perfect.
Yeah, we're a lovely team.
So, what is it that you sort of, what do you love about your job or the industry? Or
I love to see my original customers still there. To be honest with you, it's just nice to see, and they've been there from the beginning, supporting us, and and where we've got it wrong, they've come and told us that's nice for me. That's massively rewarding.
The fact that they just keep coming back, that just pays. Yeah,
and it's just meeting the customers and it's just that's the nicest
How
part.
How have they been seeing your growth? Have they been quite cool about that?
Yeah, they enjoy it. They ask about the other shops, and and the ones that know me from the beginning, I remember when you first opened and you were worried and you were stressed out, and and look at you now and stuff like that. It's sad when we lose some of them as well. Because some of them are old. And we get to hear like that somebody from the family will come in and say, so and so he's passed away. That's sad. But yeah, that's the most rewarding thing to customers.
You become an extension to their family because you do see them quite often. So
you do, and when they have family come visit them, they bring them to your shop, and because they like to be then fussed over. And I do make a bit of a fuss if I see them bring the family from London or wherever.
Yeah.
And it's like their shop. It's they're proud. It's like how can I say?
Oh, and yes, especially with fish and chips, everyone's fish and chip shop that they like is the best one ever.
Yeah.
Like if you ever see the comments, like
yeah.
And that's one thing that we do have. You don't see anybody saying, "Well, the McDonald's I go to is the best one in the world." Really? So.
No, it's a funny thing. Fish and chips. It's a very personal experience, and yeah, you're right. It's their shop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, well, my shop's better than yours.
Well,
because does this
and not even
that,
with different shops, but you'd also see people that prefer Burscough to Birkdale and Birkdale to Southport.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, we've got customers that travel from Burscough to Marshside because they prefer Marshside still. Or we have customers that now go to Burscough. They're from Southport because they prefer Burscough. We can't put our finger on it. They do look all my shops look very different. I've done that deliberately.
Do you have like a younger customer base?
Absolutely, yeah, we do. One of the reasons, it was a bit of an experiment, to be honest with you, still. I didn't go nautical and your classic fish and chip traditional restaurant. Maybe I should have done, I don't know. But I wanted to... Thank you. I wanted to challenge the younger audience to see if we can get them in, because we're so focused on the older audience, which is great. It's a safe pound. I get that. But what happens when they're gone? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So as my mindset was, let's try a younger, vibrant feel.
Yeah.
And it has worked as well. It's worked.
So you definitely do see younger people there. Then.
Yeah. We see people dating there. We see younger people bringing the grandparents there as well.
Oh, right. I bet they hate it, don't they? What is this?
No. It's just it's just everyone's happy sort of thing. Everyone's a winner.
I get that.
But we do see older people that a bit funkier.
Do you ever see?
Do you know what I mean? Like a bit more cool, a bit more hip.
If you was to
want to be in
Burscough, if you was to ever fix up like Southport, would you ever sort of like step into that direction a little bit more?
No.
You just always stay that.
Marshside will remain traditional.
The way it looks, yeah.
Forever.
Yeah,
absolutely forever.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's you can't mess around with that kind of vibe. It works, yeah.
So what is it you dislike about the industry we're in?
Obviously, the prices going up of everything.
Yeah.
Our profit margins are getting squeezed. I dislike that, but I think all of us are in the same boat there, aren't we?
Yeah, I think, essentially everyone is in the same boat there, isn't it? So you can't really... This
new digital revolution, dark kitchens, this is not a dislike, but this is a concern.
I think one of the things...
Where is that going to take us?
I think one interesting thing is that if you're using Just Eat, for argument's sake, and this is something I saw the other day, so someone puts on Facebook about the Just Eat packaging, and does anybody else use them? And I was thinking, how does that work? If you're using Just Eat's packaging, let's say you're Fylde Fish Bar, but you're using their packaging through Just Eat, have you not removed that little bit of branding that you have?
Absolutely. I wouldn't do that.
No. And I know it's cheaper, but it's cheaper for a reason, because they want you to use the Just Eat branded products. We're
not with Just Eat, so I didn't know that. So is that what
no. It's just something I saw and I thought that's just a bit for me. For me, it should be about building your customer base. I think if anyone's going to use these aggregators, I think it should be with the goal to convert them to a platform that you own.
Yeah.
I think that should be their goal. It might take a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever it takes. But the goal should be to start trying to convert people from those platforms to your own. That's my opinion, because I don't know how sustainable it is moving people through a platform that you don't own with no data. And then if they start pushing their packaging on you, well, what are you? You're just a wholesaler of food, aren't you? You're a wholesaler. You've lost every advantage that you have. So I think that for me, it was just something that I've been thinking about lately. And I had a good conversation with with Nick from Prio Day the other day, and he was saying exactly the same thing. And they've got a different platform, whereas what they're doing is helping you create collections. Whereas Just Eat and so on, they're literally becoming the middle guy. But how long before you're just a bulk wholesaler?
It's crazy, isn't it?
It's something that people need to look at more than anything. It's not scaring them. It's just be aware.
I always thought that these Deliveroo's and Just Eats would never affect our industry. Never be a challenge because people like to come and queue.
Who does like to queue?
But I got that wrong.
Yeah, I was going to say,
I got that wrong.
I can't I love shopping local. Yeah, so where possible. But I hate queuing. I like going to the butchers and I like a bit of banter there. But I don't like the queuing. I like being served.
Yeah,
but I don't like queuing. And I think I know we joke about it. I say the British love queuing. Nobody likes queuing.
It's like I was late to get onto the Amazon thing. Everybody else is talking about. I got it online. I got it online. I bought it off Amazon. Blah 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 blah. And then I was probably one of the last ones. And when I'd done it the first time, I thought, oh my God, it's so easy. It comes the next day.
And in some instances, the same day.
I've had it the same day, yeah. I've actually had it the same day. In Liverpool, you can have it in 2 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think the thing is, what we put, the figure is, it's not how much does something cost, it's how much are you willing to pay for convenience. So if you wanted a cable for your Xbox...
I know. It's the same price, isn't it?
And it was probably the same price or less, and you didn't have to leave the room.
I know.
You
just got to wait.
So you've just got to wait. And I think, how long is it going to be before that 2 hours seems like ages?
And eventually it's just going to be drones, constantly.
I think, what does that say about takeaway foods? And I think, or even restaurants, if people want... that's who I was talking to. It was you last week. You were like, I'm waiting for a Nando's to be delivered.
Yeah. God, you make me sound like a lazy fucker.
I assure you he's very slim. He's not a fat kid. But no, what I'm getting at is that you value your time with your wife and your 4 boys. Yeah? That is important to you. Yeah. So if I said to you, would you rather be at home with 4 boys? Actually, this answer might go slightly differently. Yeah. Or would you rather be in a queue waiting for a takeaway? You're going to say, well, I'd rather stay home and play the Xbox with them. So I think I'd rather be doing a lot of things rather than that. And the idea of what I was saying about Prio Day, which is probably the halfway point between Just Eat and all that lot, is you just text it over, you walk over to the fish and chip shop or restaurant or kebab shop, whatever it is, pick up your food and walk out. But then I think we're getting to the point where, if you're at the gym, you're on the train, it could be so many things.
We will embrace probably this year the click and collect. However, I'm not heavily convinced it's going to be...
Well, it might work for one of your shops, but not 2 of the others, or vice versa.
I just don't think it's going to be a massive platform for us. It might be an additional platform, but...
How long before there's no retail takeaway? How long before you've just got a dark kitchen yourself out of an industrial estate?
Man, that's sad.
Yeah. But then will it become delivery and restaurants? So if you want a restaurant experience, you go to a restaurant for an experience, or are you getting, food delivered to your house?
A takeaway is going to be gone in 5-10 years' time.
Or is it just going to evolve into something else? I don't know.
It's definitely evolving. Things are changing massively. I mean, another interesting sector is these markets turn into food halls. Mm-hmm. That's a new thing, a new experience on the block.
Again,
isn't it?
Though, it's more an experience. It's more social. It's based around a restaurant, and I think, I've seen.
But it's not a restaurant either, is it?
It is and it isn't, isn't it?
You've
got this shared space.
These concepts,
Yeah,
they're popping up everywhere.
Is that shared space in the middle where you can all sit down and eat any food?
It's cool.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah,
it is cool.
But I don't know. I think
so. Think when you look at the last 10 years, still things have opened up and changed massively.
Well, I think the last 10 years has saw more change than the last 30.
Yeah.
I think.
So what's the next 10 years going to take us?
Well, yeah, exactly.
All these high streets, all when these department stores close, they need filling up.
But I can't see what's going to happen there. That's
well, they just need to. Everything needs to be reinvented. Everything will get reinvented.
So what advice would you give your peers?
If you're starting up, accept that you're not going to make a profit for maybe 1 or 2 years, and just keep your head down. Don't get disheartened. Keep your quality up, your head down, and keep smiling, and you will start.
What's your
seeing the
thoughts
rewards.
on like self-development?
Life balance, absolutely. Put your family first. Read, make friends with the industry. Be positive all the time. Always try to find something positive, no matter how hard your day is. Keep forever learning.
Yeah, I suppose it's important, isn't it? Because you can't learn enough, can you? Really?
No.
You need to constantly
Be a good listener.
Yeah, and if you're in our industry, then you go on training courses, and and I suppose you just got to constantly keep that knife sharp, haven't you?
Absolutely, and if you got a team, embrace youth. We have wonderful managers, young, 24, 25, who one of them's had experience working in KFC she was assistant manager there, and she's taught me a lot.
Yeah,
a hell of a lot. Lydia, the way they run the teams and they teach the teams, and and training manuals and stuff like that. She's helped develop that. The rest of the team have helped me as well. So I'm lucky that I can get my team together, and I'm a good listener with them.
Yeah. So in your
always
notes,
be in the same level as your team.
Yeah, and in your notes you put plan, but also exit plan. So what are your thoughts behind that? What were you getting at?
Well, as I said to you, the Ocean Plaza there, it taught me to accept that if you're going to do a business, no matter if it's fish and chips or what restaurants or whatever it is, there's a good chance it's going to go wrong. And what's your plan? What is your plan then? So because you could potentially carry that burden for 10, 15, 20 years or whatever. You could lose everything.
So in your plan, you also had, you knew when you was going to get out. If if a certain amount of things didn't happen for you.
No.
Oh, okay.
The Ocean Plaza, I would have been stitched in there for a long time.
Okay.
But because I was lucky with Subway bailing me out, I had an option. Now, if Subway weren't there and I've had no option, I would have been obligated to carry on paying that burden.
So a bit of luck came your way.
Yeah. So with my other shops, I've always been wary and created that exit plan, just in case I need to break.
So if it wasn't doing the money for whatever reason, or whatever, some challenges came that were really hard to overcome, there'd be a line in the sand for you.
Yeah, there might, so my advice to anyone is to definitely accept that it might go wrong. And you got to remember, in restaurants, did you know restaurants are 11 times more likely to go bust than any other industry? 11 times.
Wow, that's a big statistic.
It's a very, very strong statistic, and you can't ignore it.
And you see some of the greats, obviously Jamie Oliver went for lots of different reasons, but you see there's a lot of companies that are struggling out there at the moment. Yeah,
I mean, I was surprised if the Frankie Benny's and Chiquitos group bought Wagamama, which is just strong.
You see why they bought it.
It's a lifeline for them, I think.
Yeah. Oh, I think so. And I think,
we were there yesterday, by the way, Wagamama.
Oh, Wagamama's great, isn't
it? It is, yeah. It's the best one.
So one part of me thinks, Wagamama is, do they get the rest of the brand and try and elevate it to that level, or do they bring Wagamama down to that level? And I don't know. Only time will tell, I suppose. But at the moment, it seems safe.
I started seeing little corny things pop up, actually.
Have you?
And when I went to the Liverpool one, because I've been there a few times, I put a new neon light thing, and it said something like, "Here we are, Liverpool." And I just thought, right. God, here we go. It's starting to get corny already. You know what I mean? I hope they don't disrupt the brand too much.
Oh, my boy absolutely loves Wagamama.
My kids love it. We're all happy when we go there. The 6 of us. As you know, 4 boys, and it's very hard to please all of us. But we're all happy at Wagamama.
Everyone's happy there.
Yeah.
Yeah, my little boy would eat anything. He's a pig.
That's good.
He's Greek. My older boy, not so much. But so, what do you think would future-proof, whether it's your shop or the industry? What are your thoughts behind future-proofing a little bit?
To make sure you create an experience that's worthy for the customers to come out and have a jolly, experience inside your shop.
Yeah.
That's and obviously with the quality of the food. and appearances in the shop, you've got to ensure that the experience is there, a positive one. From as soon as they walk in, as soon as they leave, all right through to when they leave.
The whole thing.
The whole thing has got to be a solid, positive experience. And that's how we will survive. Customers aren't stupid. So I think that's...
So in some ways, it's probably not good enough that the food is good. It's got to be...
No, not anymore.
No,
it's more than that now.
Yeah.
It is more than that now.
Yeah, I think years ago, you could just open any food restaurant, takeaway, and providing the food was decent, people would keep coming back. And
they're so fussy now, people. Like, TripAdvisor and Google reviews, they're our best friends and our worst enemies, Yeah.
Well, that's what they say, and live by the sword, die by the sword. And I think, I don't know, I still can't get my head around whether you should engage with people or not. And I think the best advice I give people is keep it simple, keep it very brief when you're responding, but get the customer to respond on your terms privately. And I think if you can do that, I think you're laughing. But if it can escalate sometimes, like, I don't know, do you want to make your customers look small and upset and argue with them? I don't know. Like, where does it?
I don't know. I mean, what's that chef called? Is it in Liverpool? Wreckfish?
No, he's
Gary. Is it something?
He's in Chester. Anyway, is that?
Yeah,
I know
what's his
it's
name?
Cheshire. Gary Usher. Yeah.
Yeah, he got into the Telegraph for basically telling the customer.
Yeah, to F.
Yeah,
and this happens daily,
but in a very cool way.
Do you follow him?
Yeah.
It's just like,
So he's making a noise. So he's making a business out of it. You know what I mean?
But that guy, and I was saying to someone not long ago, actually, I follow him, he's a really interesting guy, but what a stressful life he must lead. Like, that must take a chunk out of you. I'm telling you, like, if you're doing that with every customer, it becomes sport.
Maybe he's paid someone just to be
maybe,
giving it back to him.
Maybe, but that must be really tiring. Because I remember saying to someone that he's always at it, and you think, wow, like, it's just tiring. Like, and it's funny though.
In the olden days, if your customer would come in and give you a hard time, and you just say, "Get the effing out of my shop now." Now you can't do that.
No, now they do it online.
Yeah, I know.
But they were saying, like, years ago, it became sport for people to go and do that at Marco Pierre White's. It was almost like it became like funny if you went there and got threw out. And I wonder if this is the modern version. Oh, I triggered them on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, and But I don't know. It's just strange.
I had an idea, we got like these National Fish and Chips Day and National Redhead Day and National Everything Day now and whatever, what I mean? Imagine doing a national crap customer service day. So the customers come in, they know they're going to get crap service.
All right.
On purpose, you know what I mean? But, it's a bit of a laugh. Do you think it could...
I don't know, mate.
Would you go to a restaurant knowing you're going to get deliberately... Not, the food will be spot on, but the service will be deliberately like, what do you want? Is that it? You need more than that, you fat kid.
Sounds like everywhere in Liverpool.
But I think it'd work, though. You know what I mean? I think it would work.
I don't know. The
do
answer is
do it around Halloween as well for a laugh. You know what I mean?
My answer is I just don't know. That's because I have had service like that anyway.
Yeah, but in Cyprus it's like that all day, every day, but you don't mind.
I know Cyprus it falls into one of two schools. It's absolutely the best hospitality you'll ever get, or absolutely the worst. I've never had middle ground hospitality in Cyprus.
Yeah.
But then I don't think I've had really bad hospitality over here. I don't know. Most restaurants that I go to, if I'm honest, they're generally decent. And I mean anywhere as low as McDonald's all the way up to posh restaurants.
Yeah.
I must admit, maybe it's customers' expectations that have shifted.
Yeah, definitely.
I did a podcast with a couple of guys a few weeks ago, and they do like pop-ups and they get other chefs to come to their restaurants. And they were saying people were complaining because they didn't get a photo of the chef.
Oh my God.
So it's customers' expectations. That's probably what's shifting.
It's just so competitive now, I suppose, that they think they can get what they want,
You've already hinted at it. What brands do you love?
When I say love, we're talking just about the brand, not the food.
I guess so, because that would set people off.
Well, obviously I've mentioned Wagamama's and I think Five Guys as well, yeah. Because I admire Five Guys because they're authentic. It's not jazzed up when you go in.
Burger.
You see the spuds stacked up. You see the oil stacked up. Inside the
the stock room's in the front.
or in the restaurant. And the pictures, they're just the crap. You know what I mean? They're just I just love it because it's authentic, you know.
Yeah.
You've come here for
just a burger
and to get ripped off, but you know what I mean. It's good food. It is great food.
Yeah,
The chips are lovely, by the way.
Say that the shop fit is expensive. The menu system is just red and white board, isn't it?
It's just so and Wagamama obviously because.
And which ones do you dislike?
Chiquito is probably the
I
the
ate
lowest.
one about 10 years ago, and everything had beans in it, so I didn't go back.
It's just terrible. I'm surprised it still floats around. You know what I mean? Frankie and Benny's as well.
Yeah, I think again they're price points, though, aren't they?
Well, yeah, 13 quid is it?
It's a low buy-in to go out for dinner, isn't it? I suppose. And
Is what 13 quid for the main course? 15 quid.
I've been for years.
So.
But then, so you were saying earlier, like, how comes we don't see sort of chains of fish and chip shops like that? And then we got onto like Long John's in America.
Yeah, we had a look at the photos.
And again, it's just like Americans do.
It's like it's almost a triangle, isn't it?
It's a diamond shape.
Diamond shape, yeah.
And they're just getting we don't see brands like that evolve in England. Like the Americans are like the ultimate when it comes to turning things into a chain, aren't they?
They love a chain, don't they? I don't know. I've never been
do
there.
They?
So
I don't know. I don't know if they love a chain, but
I suppose they've got big cities and only chains can stand out.
Yeah, but I don't know. Again, I'm sure there's a customer base out there that really enjoys local and good. But I just think that model isn't there for us. One thing I've always said to you, one thing I'd like to see in the UK is I want, and worth someone trying it, is imagine if we adapted a little bit to that model that the Americans have, which is, if someone wants a large fish and chips, it's just 3 goujons with chips. Or, or 4, whatever it is. Imagine the standardization you could achieve there. Imagine how nice your fish would be if it was always 4 ounces. I think you imagine if you were training your chefs and you said, so the difference between a large and a regular is just 1 fillet or 2 fillets, as opposed to 1 long large fillet or on smaller large fillet, 1 smaller fillet. I think that, I don't know, I wonder if that would work over here, but I wonder if customers' expectations again is...
The condition, though.
No.
You can't mess around with them.
No, you don't want to mess with people's fish and chips. It'd start a war, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Where is your favourite fish and chip shop?
I'm going to say because...
I'd rather you said it, because that's why I asked you.
Mine.
Come on.
Seriously,
mine.
Where
else?
Chef's Fred's good. I love going there because I like to be with Fred anyway and talk to him and stuff like that. But obviously, I like to see his machine, which is well oiled, running. It's a great team. Also, the Good Catch. That's a good brand. Mm-hmm. They do great fish and chips on all the sites. But where I really like to eat fish and chips, not because of the quality of fish and chips, is in Whitby. I like to buy fish and chips from the Magpie or Quayside or.
It's got that awesome view there.
Yeah, and if you're in the Magpie and you sat out looking at that view, it's not just about the fish and chips, and it's about the experience. Yeah. And even just walking around, eating fish and chips, fighting the seagulls. It's
fighting the seagulls. Yeah. It's a very British thing to do.
Yeah. It's a great experience.
Whitby doesn't actually smell of sea.
Doesn't it?
Actually, if you're standing at the top where the keyhole is, it actually smells of...
It does on the fish market, though, doesn't it?
It just smells of beef dripping. It's like, I walked to the end of their pier once and I could smell sea.
Right.
But I had to get pretty far out. It just smells of dripping everywhere you go. It's like... But I don't know, like, there is nothing better than...
Where's your favourite style? Your dad's?
No, not at all. I think it is probably... I'd probably say that, again, because of the experience. I prefer my fish and chips on a plate. So as crisp as possible. They're literally just done. I don't like them wrapped up. And I'd have it in a box if I went to a takeaway, but I prefer it on a plate. So it'd probably be because I like the area, Whitby, Magpie, I think, just because of that. Like, that's that whole experience,
Yeah.
But it's not exclusively, but it is because of the experience. I think that there's just so much to it. Like, Whitby's such a nice place where you can walk around.
It's the best venue for fish and chips, isn't it?
Oh, it's the home. Well, it's the spiritual home, as they call it, of fish and chips, isn't it? So
I try to go there once a year to pay homage to fish and chips.
So, what is your favourite normal restaurant, non-fish and chip restaurant?
Bistro Verity, which I'm very, very fortunate.
Yeah.
Which is around the corner from my house, and he's a chef's chef. Mm-hmm. And he's definitely, in my opinion, one of the best restaurants in the Northwest. You've
not taken me yet.
Well, because you come on a Monday, and Mark, if you're listening, you need to open on Mondays. No, you don't, mate. Have a nice day off. You'll see when you go.
All right.
It's authentic, yeah. And he's got a great kitchen, a great team.
And what would your last meal be, if you could choose?
Probably the same as yours. Mixed kebab.
Like it.
Yeah, mixed kebab.
Yeah.
And a bottle of Keo. Or actually full fat Coke. I never drink full fat Coke, but when I go to Cyprus, I do once.
Yeah.
I have a mixed kebab and a full fat Coke.
I tell you what's nice in Cyprus.
What would be your last meal?
Well, I think it'll be similar to that to some degree, but I think what's amazing about Cyprus, it's so hot, so like 40 plus or something, 41, 42. But do you remember when we were younger? I don't know if you remember this, but they used to put the glass bottles of Coke or Pepsi or whatever it was.
In the freezer or the
fridge. They were in the fridge, but the fridge was water. So imagine it was probably ice. It was probably a big chest fridge with ice in it that had then gone really cold and water. So it was so cold. It was like cold all the way through. Not like cold in a fridge cold because it was air touching the bottle. This was cold because the water was cold. It's a whole different level of cold.
Boss, isn't it?
Yeah, and you crack that open in like 40 degrees.
I've cried eating mixed kebab. You know? I have. Been emotional.
What do you mean? It's not that emotional. Was it that bad? Was it that good?
No, when the first one you get when you go over, you're like, oh.
I love it, but I don't think I've ever cried. All right, just move on because we're going to finish soon. Who's been an inspiration to you?
My dad, definitely.
I remember your dad. Well, no, sorry, I've got to rephrase that. He's still around, sorry. But yeah, I remember because I went to drop something off at the shop once, and just like you, actually, he was standing outside the shop giving me a dirty look. That's
what we do when we meet people. We give them the glare for 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Cypriots, you just
break them down psychologically.
Well, I was fine. I just said hello and carried on. But he was just like, he's a bit like, what is this guy doing here?
He's the hardest working man I know.
Yeah.
And 100% dedicated family man. And great dad, great bapu.
That's granddad for people that don't know.
And he's a great friend as well, yeah.
Well, look, Banico, it's been absolutely great.
Thank you, still.
And we're going to get all wrapped up and have a coffee.
Yeah, man.
All right,
Let's go to a coffee shop.